We're live, Dr. Art.
And all the technology is working.
Yes, that was a little tricky at first.
Where's my hat?
Yes, Mexican Spec, this is the one. This is really the live. We're really here, really now, and it's working. Everything's working. Oh, no. Look what's not working.
Oh, stop
jeez.
it.
You're kidding me. Oh, that's working. Hello, can you guys hear us? Hello.
No.
We have a lot at the helm. We have. Yeah, I'm trying to do this for drawing pictures and candles and stuff like that, and it just doesn't work. So.
They can hear us?
Well, I guess they can hear us. Can you guys hear us? Because we're not seeing any speaker action over here. Bill McKaysko, what's happening? Mute. Okay, wait. Oh, no mute. Okay. I guess they can hear us. Nobody's complaining. Okay. Fuller! What's happening? Okay. Josh H. Shadow Ops. What's happening, man? Lima Charlie. I don't know what that means. He's a military guy. I was a punk. Thunderbird 1968. What's happening? Vinny LC. You hear us. And that's all that really counts, Vinny.
Yeah.
Sterling Process, Josh H. Cutlass, mostly Mopar. Good evening. Lynn H. Holly Carbs Rule. What do you think about that? The Holly Carbs Rule?
I like that.
They're okay. They're good.
Yeah.
I can't say anything bad about Holly Carbs. Chris Freemesser is here.
Bobby's 1964. What's up with you? Chris?
Bobby Z.
Bobby Z. Oh,
yes.
I can't, it's far away.
There
we go.
That's why I make the big bucks.
Yeah.
Strato. Okay, so now we've recited everybody's name.
Yes.
What's new and exciting in your world, Dr. Art?
I have a plethora of programming this week.
Your business has just taken off.
It is. I probably have done 25 of these little JTech computers.
Really?
And I've only had a kind of a fuzzy problem with one or two. But,
this is the man. He's cracked the code.
But and I got more coming. And I got another guy. I got two guys. They're both from Florida.
Be careful throwing the glasses.
Oh yeah, you're gonna blow the camera out. Yeah. Sorry. Don't touch. No touchy. To do that carb conversion for their LS for those computers. So I got that. And I got a guy who was watching my videos from last fall for the go-karts, wants me to build a go-kart engine. I'm like, send me all the stuff, and here's your list. Send it to me, and okay, cool.
You're banging it, man. Any new videos?
No. Yeah, I know. There's the Monday Night Lives, and nope. It's too hot. I'm gonna, it's an excuse, and everybody's got one, but it's like, damn.
I'm in a holding pattern myself right now.
Yeah. It's apologies to the room, but it's possibly this weekend if it's nicer because I got some time segued off away from the rest of the.
You should be able to come up with some kind of content you can do from the air conditioned, luxury of your palace over there.
Well, I do that. The last video was a tuning video.
Okay.
And that I do upstairs in the office and stuff like that. Maybe I'll do a couple more of those. I don't know. I should probably do something. But I'd really like the temperature to drop about 30 degrees.
No, 30 is too much.
I'll take 66. I'll put in a little flannel in the garage. I'll be out there all day. I'll be fine.
I ride motorcycles. So 60 degrees is 40 degrees on a bike.
I don't care about your motorcycles.
I'll go with 80. Give me 80 degrees. I'm thrilled.
80 and a little breeze is fine. Yeah, some cloud cover, maybe a little rain. We could use some rain. So talking about the weather, do we actually have tech questions on Wednesday night Tech Talk Live?
There's only one way to find out, bro, and that's to look at the questions.
Read the comments. We got, oi.
Yes, Mr. D is trying not to be a mooch. He's awesome. He's done it. You're definitely not a mooch.
Succeeded. You're the king of the non-moochers.
Yes.
Everyone below you is a mooch in the world. You were on top.
Let's see. Oh, they're talking to themselves. They don't want to have anything to do with us.
They just come here to talk to themselves.
Ron Morse is saying, "Hey guys, I like your show." Ron from Barbecue Township, North Carolina. Is that a real place? Barbecue Township?
It sounds like a lovely place to live, doesn't it?
So 30 years ago or thereabouts, I bought some land in North Carolina, in New Bern, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I was actually trying to buy Craven County International Dragway, which was in the town there, right? It was a cool little 8-mile track.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found out today is that Pepsi
Bought it?
comes from New Bern, North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, there was a guy with a pharmacy, a drugstore, like soda fountain thing. And he's the guy that concocted Pepsi. And it's from New Bern, North Carolina. Go figure.
If it's in Craven County, you could have opened up a machine shop that just did cylinder heads.
Yeah.
And you could be Craven Moorhead.
Dude, that's superstar status right there. Mr. Beast has got to watch out. You keep that up, and it's like that.
Yeah.
What
do we got? Trying not to touch the table. What do we got? Yeah. Finally, yours got my 60.
Well, Thunderbird 168 wants to know, what is the proper definition of a mooch? So I typed out the title, UTG Wednesday Night Tech Talk Live, and it says, I need something for the subtitle. And he says, it's Wednesday, don't be a mooch. So what do we mean by mooch?
It's like your broke best friend.
Okay.
Always, come on, buy me a hamburger. Come on, aren't we friends? Hey, buy me a beer, buy me this, buy me that. What do you mean?
A moocher. Okay.
Just a moocher, and then this has nothing to do with anyone in the chat or anyone and stuff like that. This is all like in real life, non-television real life. It was just a day of Benny the Mooch. So
lots of moochism going on today.
Yeah. So hopefully that clears up, because that's no fun.
Sean Jackson, what's the difference between Lawrence Welk Orchestra and a moose? On a moose, the horns are in. Oh, jeez. All right. So I guess I should probably read through the whole thing first, then go back.
Proofread.
Yes. See, I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to do YouTube.
Yeah. So the horns are in the back. What are you going to do?
Lynn H says root beer is way better than Pepsi. In some instances, I agree with you. Like a nice cold mugs in a mug is like, you can't beat that.
And root beer with ice cream, like an ice cream.
I can't do that.
You don't?
No, I can't.
You have so many weird little.
I do. Yeah.
So you want Pepsi with ice cream, or do you want just ice cream and nothing else around, and eat the ice cream and then move on?
Or eat the ice cream. So here's the ice cream, and then here's whatever you're drinking. You don't necessarily combine them. You know what I'm saying?
That's no fun. Did you not have fun as a child?
I had lots of fun. I had fun eating my ice cream and then drinking my Pepsi, or cold root beer,
or Tang.
Well, I was kind of Tang deprived when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't a thing.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It was like the 70s, and like the Tang was from the 60s. It was like nobody cares now. They did the astronaut thing.
Okay.
So, but I rediscovered Tang as an adult, and it's like it's just awesome.
Yeah, we had Tang because we didn't have any money.
I
don't need Kool-Aid. Here's some Tang. Kool-Aid's 12 cents a pack. Back then.
I credit everything I am today to Tang.
100%.
Yeah. Martin Scorsese knew that, not Martin Scorsese, Stanley Kubrick. He knew that that's what the astronauts would need to survive.
Well, that was like the linchpin that pulled the whole farce of a story together. That Tang on the moon, and ooh, mama, they're on the moon.
Yep.
Yeah, they just mess with people's heads. He's a genius.
Let's see. Lynn H. Tony, did you put the right plug wires on so your Petronics works correctly? I had carbon core wires. They weren't solid core wires. They were carbon core wires, as they call for it. And no, that had nothing to do with it. Corey Melvin says super unhealthy though. Have you seen me smoke? And come on. Let's see. Tang was just a ton of sugar. Well, it has vitamins. It has all the important vitamins.
It's got orange in it.
Yeah.
Important orange.
Melvin D, hey guys, I missed a Monday night show because I was in TN for a road trip with my kid. So Dr. Art does his Monday night show at 7:00. Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab.
Yes.
and it's awesome.
And you're okay, Melvin. You get a pass.
Yes, but don't miss it again.
Yes.
So, don't miss
You
it
get
again.
it. You get it. Go on your permanent
Jason's
record.
Automotive says Ovaltine is better than both. No, Ovaltine and Tang are two completely different things. You can't compare them. Can you?
No. That'd be like, Yoo-hoo and Diet Mountain Dew. It's two different worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, you're right.
Yeah.
Corey Melvin smokes about a pack a day.
Nice,
Excellent.
nice.
Excellent.
He's probably very calm and good with the world. The nicotine just will, brings you down in here.
Here's a question for you, Vinny LC.
Okay.
Is there any benefit of the 4-7 swap or no?
Yes. With the small blocks for vibration.
For vibration?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they went with it in later years on the GM cars and LSs and things like that. They just swapped them. It just makes the motor happier.
See, I always thought that it was to even the pulses or to level out the pulses in the plenum.
Makes the engine happier.
Because so for instance and it applies to I guess really any big plenum setup, but on the fuel cars specifically, we had to run number 6 fatter than any other cylinder in the lineup
Because they got more ram effect or something.
Well, no, so 6 is here, so you got 2, 4. I have to do this to the cameras here. Sometimes I forget we're on camera. Okay, you got 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, and in here you have 1, 3, 5, 7. So in the firing order, you've got 1, 8, 4. Right, then 3 fires, 6 fires, 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. So you've got 3 distinct pulses surrounding or opposed to number 6.
Okay.
But if you change the firing order around,
then the pulse is out.
Then everything kind of evens its way out.
Yeah. So the benefits to it, yes.
Yes.
Yes. The smart engineers did it first.
Fubar put up the link to our merch. Thank you, sir.
Andrew Button, greetings, Doctor. I have Dodge fever. What do you recommend I take?
Tang.
Tang.
Take a bath in Tang.
Take a bath in Tang.
Yes.
Yes. Sit in the lovely confines of your favorite Dodge.
Sit and percolate for a good 2-3 hours.
Tang ice.
Yes.
Get your feet up on the dash.
Yes.
Maybe have the radio on in the background. Have a good time.
Very nice. Greasy Rogers, I don't believe you could drive a 442 without smoking. I agree completely. Let's see. Ron Morse, 85 motorhome with a 440. Are the heads any good thinking about pulling the motor out of it? You don't have an original 85 motorhome with a 440. They stopped. So regular production on the 440 stopped in 1978, and they used it in truck applications and motorhomes until 79, right? So you can have up to a 79 Winnebago or Travco, which still have a big block Chrysler in it, but not from an 85. Somebody must just swapped it in there.
So you'd have to pull up the cover, see what casting you got on the heads to determine if the heads are any good, or if it's a.
Well, the thing about the motorhome, so
the 2 different heads with the plugs and
yeah.
Do your plugs go straight out or are they angled?
Exactly. That's the easiest way to tell. And the water pump housing, does the water pump housing go to the front of the cylinder heads, or is it isolated just to the block?
Then you know what 440 you have. Yeah.
Let's see.
Todd Smith, that's an interesting. Well, I'll let you comment on that. Can I use a Magnum cam in a late LA with factory hydraulic rollers?
As long as it's a roller cam block, yes, absolutely. Yeah. If it's not a roller cam block, then you have to use a retro lifter, which they have cheap lifters on eBay, like $185 a set. They drop right in, and so far I've had really good experience with them.
Yeah, they just got the tie bars and they're good and drop in.
Yeah. Country Tony, how can I check for cracks on the head?
If you got the super magnet and the dust.
There you go. You can do a home Magnaflux, which is something that you should do a video on. That would be a great video.
Yes, and I got those.
Did you do it?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Stay tuned to Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab.
Yeah, I have those hemispherical heads that I can.
Which hemispherical heads?
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, everything else is assembled. But I could do that.
Now, generally speaking, though, you can see cracks.
Yeah, if you clean everything real well, in between the valves is generally where most cracks,
Yes.
regardless of brand.
Right. And well, beyond that, right? Like if you take the head, you clean all of the surfaces with emery cloth, right? You'll see the cracks if you don't do anything else except just take emery cloth, wrap it around like a piece of 2x4, and just clean the head with that fine emery cloth. The cracks will pop right at you. You can't miss them. The ones that are in the deck surface. If you've got them in the combustion chamber, like Dr. Art said, they're usually between the valves, between the valve seats. You can generally see those. Just look carefully. You can't miss them.
Yeah.
And on some engines, like for instance the Magnums, the small block Magnums, they're all cracked. Like it's a pre-cracked thing. They come from the factory cracked. They don't leak water. The crack never extends far enough to reach water, and it never becomes a significant enough crack. Normally aspirated on gasoline, it never burns to a point
Hot enough to burn anything.
Right. So yeah, don't worry about it. Jason Fitch, good evening, brother. Dude, only 42 likes.
Oh my God! See, I told you we have to replace me with a monkey, I think, and you'll get more likes. Let's see.
Okay, Country San Hello. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'll subscribe and look for your video. Yes, you should all subscribe to Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab.
There's cool shit on that guy's channel.
Yes. Let's see. Rap Daddy, Mopar or no car? Yes. Well, they're all pretty good. Anthony Z, hello. I'm having an issue with my engine pistons and walls keep scoring on the skirts. Could it be it's running too rich, no overheating also? Running too rich will wash the oil off the cylinder wall and give you some marks there. Any ideas?
Or just lack of oil. Yeah.
Lack of oil. Too tight in oil. You've done enough, not enough piston and wall clearance. We'll give you that. Lots of things.
Yeah, is it both sides of the skirt or one side or? Yeah, there's a little more details.
Yes. Fixing on a garage says he switched accounts to double the likes the old school way. Jason Fitch. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Yes. Follow his example.
Yes. Len H, the 289 is the best small block. No. I mean, it's hard to knock. I mean, the 302 is just that much better because it's got, it's the 289 is a fantastic little engine, but it's like the 302, it's not a compromise. A lot of times they'll take a small engine and they'll punch it out to a bigger size to get that low end, low fidelity, and it loses the punch. Okay, and an example of that might be like the 360 Mopar versus like the 340. But in the case of the small block Ford, I would say that the 302 is just about the perfect size for the architecture of that engine. So the 289 is the next best small block Ford wedge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially you get a good set of cylinder heads on them, and then they really run. That's what holds them back usually.
Vinny LC, are there any downsides to running the Chrysler big lifters and on a small block Chevy? No downside that I could think of. No downside that I could think of. It's kind of really all upside. Providing you, okay, the downside is you're limited to grinds. You're limited to special grinds to take advantage of the larger lifter. So in other words, if you just go with a bigger lifter and you're using a Chevy profile cam or small lifter profile cam, you're not really seeing the advantage. So the cam really should match the larger diameter lifter. Yeah, good.
I know nothing about that. So.
Okay. Zero is here.
Zero, nice.
Yes. We can all relax now.
Yes.
Cameron Shivers. Big shout out to Uncle Tony. Big shout out to you, Cameron. I've been binging your content, and thanks to that, I've been able to pinpoint my fuel issues.
Nice.
Awesome. I like that. See, it's very gratifying to hear that people used your stuff to fix their problems.
Yes. That's why you do it.
Not
just for money and fame, but for spreading knowledge and wisdom.
Fame, I'm really not crazy about.
No, you don't like
people. You should know me by now, right?
Yeah.
The fame, I'm not really crazy about. The money's pretty good. I can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like, so when I was doing magazines years ago, okay, I was working for Steve Collison. So he was the editor of Superstock and Drag also. You're familiar, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Steve and I became good friends, but he always had a tight budget, right? Always had a tight budget. And I was like, dude, I can sell this to X, talking about a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can sell this to X publisher, you know what I mean? And get X amount.
Yeah, get paid.
He says, do you really love that magazine? I say, no. He says, do you love Superstock? I says, yes. He says, is the pay really all that important to you considering? And I was like, well, I do have bills to pay. He says, what about the psychic pay? And I said, what do you mean by the psychic pay? He says, well, if you're doing work in a magazine that you love and you connect with the reader and the reader gives you that feedback and says, you helped me with this, or I learned from that, or you opened my horizons, that's psychic pay. You can't put a price tag on it. And invariably, I would sell the story to Steve.
But in the magazine days, unless someone wrote you a letter, there was no feedback, right?
We got a lot of, you'd be surprised.
How much mail you got?
Yeah, some magazines got a lot of mail. Superstock used to get a good bit of mail. Other magazines didn't. You actually have to make the letters up because the publisher would insist on letters from.
Letters in the back page,
right,
third back page. Yeah, letters from the viewers.
Okay, Dirk Jacobson. Oh, Thumper's here. What's happening,
Nice.
Thumper? He wants to know. Is 6% enough? With a 671 on a 5? No, it's not. On a 671. 500 cubic inch engine that makes roughly 700 horsepower. I'm assuming you're talking about pump gas, right? And I think you need a little bit more. 6s are pretty inefficient, bro.
You want to overdrive a little more?
Yeah. Compared to like a good centrifugal supercharger, the old, the root style are not nearly as efficient.
So you're gonna put on the party pulley and.
I mean, 10-15% is probably, in that range.
Okay.
And always use, when you can, 2 things, Thumper, 2 things, okay? Use an 8mm belt drive, right? Anytime you can, use an 8mm. They have all different sizes and stuff, right? But the 8mm takes the least amount of horsepower to turn. So it's not a big deal when you're talking about like a blown nitro car or something like that. But when you're talking about like a gasoline car, there's a significant difference all right. So that's one reason they take less horsepower to turn. The second thing is that it transfers less harmonics to the crankshaft as it's under load. And because it transfers less harmonics, there's less wear at the front of the engine. The crank wants to deflect less with the 8mm. Then the third thing you want to do with running the 8mm, and I see people make this mistake all the time, okay? And that's that on the idler pulley, they run the toothed part against the idler. And you never do that with an 8mm setup. You know why? Because the teeth are not deep enough to have a firm grip on the blower pulley when the belt has to come out. So here's your blower pulley up here. Here's the belt comes up like this and goes over to, right? So now when you run the pulley out to the side to go around the outside of the idler, your contact of teeth is at a minimum. And when you hammer it, there's a good chance that it ratchets. Instead, with an 8mm drive, you always want to go around the top of the pulley and then come around to the inside of the idler. And that gives you about 30% more contact. Well, it depends on the length of the belt and where the idler sits. It gives you more contact teeth. So there's less chance of it rattling when you hit it. That was like way too much 671.
No, that was fantastic 671 wisdom. Everyone should be happy about this. This is things they didn't know.
Yes. I made it all up. None of that is true. No. It's all true. It's all true. Okay. Dirk Jacobson, I'm curious about your opinion. I have a 69 Buick LeSabre Custom 2-door that I paint away from finished. What would be your don't want to sell it price and what would be a good price? man, I couldn't give you that. I don't know.
A 67 LeSabre, that's a big, sexy car that you can never replace.
It's a 69.
69.
Yeah, it was, same
Mhm.
same head. I couldn't put a price on it though.
No. Just keep it.
Vinny LC, how much dome on a piston is too much before it interferes in the combustion efficiency on quench? Quench is an entirely different thing. Okay, your hazard with a high dome, and this is where you run into a problem like with the 426 Hemi. To get any significant static compression with those engines, you got to put the dome the dome and the piston way high in the combustion chamber. And what happens is at high RPM during that overlap period, the dome is actually poking in the way of the crossing, right? So that was one of the big handicaps with the 426 Hemi when it came to pro stock. And the way those combustion chambers are designed, the layout, it doesn't really, it doesn't give you any room for a quench pad. So that was another deficiency of those engines.
That's why the Gen 3 Hemi is so much nicer.
That's why the Gen 3 Hemi is. That's the only place that a Gen 3 Hemi is superior to a 426 is in the combustion chamber, because you have two quench pads and a shallow dome, and that it stays clear. You know what I mean? It stays clear. No matter how big a cam you run and how high you spin the motor, the dome stays clear.
And one or two spark plugs, depending on the version.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Let's see. Caesar, what happened to the EV debate? Did he accept? Actually, I have a very interesting video that I'm going to do tomorrow, and it has to do with I believe we've won the war, and I'm going to go into that tomorrow.
Is the EV Viking dead?
Did you
thrust your sword knowledge into the Viking and kill him and
I
cut his ears off and everything else?
I'm pretty sure he just sucked into his own mind.
Oh, he just like a black hole of EV arrogance. Yes, because EV is dead. Hello, EV is dead. Dead. I tell you, dead.
M guy, yes. Oh, Zero likes M guy Australia. Yeah, I like him too. He's a good guy. Richard Stanberry. If the U.S. automakers had to resort in an emergency to just building one universal replacement engine for ICE internal combustion engines with carbs and points distributor, what would be the best universal platform? The original version of the small block Chevy, small journal, small block Chevy. Well, that's just my personal preference. The traditional small block Chevy.
Yeah, the 350 Chevy. Yeah, the 2-bolt. Just engine, not anything crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cars, trucks, vans, it fits in everything, goes in everything. There's millions of them.
Yep.
It's the winner. Yep.
Package wise, right? No, when you look at that engine, its simplicity, its interchangeability, its size, the packageability of it. Yeah. If I had to pick one engine, and that would take minimal tooling, minimal, insanity, and just universal, just drop it into anything. You cannot be the small block Chevy. Period. The end.
Windage.
Do YouTube car guys get a lot of chicks? You talking about like chickens, little?
Yeah, You had a whole.
I had a whole backyard full of them. It was great. I had I had 8 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They were great. Do you have any chicks?
I've had one chick I've been married to for 22 years. So.
Oh, wife. Oh, yeah, we have that too. Yeah. Right, we have those too.
But it's not,
Nemo the Pimpfish.
Nice.
Yes, excellent name, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Watching your channel has motivated me to get back into the game. Working on a '67 Catalina, very nice car.
Nice.
Yes, I did a video on a '67 Catalina that they were cutting up at the fires at the Almaville Volunteer Fire Department.
Yeah. That was a couple years ago already.
That broke my heart, man. It really did. That car could have been saved.
Yeah. It's like that Galaxy or whatever in the junkyard we seen that day. Made you
cry. Right? I know. It makes me sick. I know. Thumper the Sweaty Falcon gets tons of chicks.
They're at every Tractor Supply right now. Yeah.
Let's see, Vinny. Being that nitro carries its own oxygen in the fuel, is atomization not a critical component in the intake system? It's not even a no. Okay. Alcohol is used with nitro. The reason why you use alcohol with nitro is as a fuse, right? It makes the heavier nitromethane easier to light. The closest you get to atomization is breaking the fuel into smaller droplets as it goes through the blower. There is some vaporization that happens because of the heat in the plenum, the pressure from the blower. There is some vaporization that happens, but there's so much volume. You got to understand the volume of fuel that's going into one of these engines. It's being forced in. Atomization becomes like, if you had incredible atomization in the intake, through the blower and then into the plenum, it would completely disappear by the time it actually got into the combustion chamber, because it's like taking a garden hose, putting it on full blast and just squirting it down the port. Okay, so the atomization wouldn't become a factor. Hot nitro or heated nitro obviously lights easier than cold nitro. It's just lighter. The molecules are spread a little bit further apart, so it's easier to light. And in the old days, yes, there was a small bit of atomization, but that really ended in the 1985 era. You get into the Dale Armstrong double pump, double mag era, overdrive double pumps, and then the Waterman pump and all the other shit. That's when you got to first the Super Mag 10s and then the 44 amp mags, which will kill you, just literally kill you. Just grab a spark plug wire and you're dead, right? And that's what they use. It's basically 2 arc welders in each combustion chamber to fire the mixture. So yeah, I keep rambling on, bro. I keep going back to this ancient archaic knowledge.
Well, that's fine. At least you're not like lost in transition.
You could stop me.
No, I mean you start going, crazy and talking about spaceships. I'll calm you down. But yeah, when you're on subject, these people want to know stuff like this. They want it inside your brain. That's why they're here. They want to see inside your skull all the loose parts and rattly bits.
There's a lot of rattly bits. There's a lot of rattly bits. Let's see. Who was that video? X-Bar Ghost. Tony, I slide off the road on my 85 Virago 1000 to an 1100. It's and shuttered the entire speedo pod and ripped a few wires from behind it. How much of a pain will it be to fix? They're easy. Those bikes are easy.
Yeah, what do you need a speedo pod for?
Yeah, get an aftermarket speedometer and just clamp it to the handlebars.
You're just fucking going. Don't worry about speed.
Call it a day. Right.
Yeah.
Shovelheads Forever. Hey guys, got a pan knuckle parts lot the other day and scored on new old stock points and condensers stored since the 80s, maybe 8-9 sets.
You're set for life.
Yeah, your grandkids are set for life, man. Lynn H. Do I need to split the rear axle to change my pinion seal? A quick change?
I don't know, Lynn. What kind of? It's just a standard rear end. You just take the nut off and pop the yoke out.
Yeah, Lynn.
Mark it where you took it off. If you get a crush sleeve, so you can put it back in the same place.
Yeah. The only rear you would split would be a quick change, like a Franklin quick change. Where you've got the center section and you split the two halves off of it. Service manual. The service manual and YouTube tutorials are your friend for that.
Jared, Uncle Tony, I noticed some vapor coming out of the front vent tube of my Holly. Is this normal?
Yes. Under certain circumstances, you'll get that. You shouldn't get a lot. It shouldn't be there all the time. But and I don't know what the circumstances are, but it's something I've seen.
It's just like a hot soak deal. Yeah, you shut it off and pull your cleaner off, and the fuel's a little bit boily, and you get some vapor. Yeah, it's not going to happen when it's running.
Oh, okay. XX War Ghost, Tony. It's a 1000. It's a special edition for only $284, and mine has special golden brown trim for $85. Are you sure about that? Because they had the 750, the 920, and the 1100. Wait, no, they had the five. Oh God! So go back to 1980, middle 1980s, right? You had the 750, the 920. No, you had the 500. Then the 750, the 920, the 1100. I don't ever recall seeing 1,000 in. I could be wrong, but I remember those Viragos very well. Pete V, Tony, do you miss anything from the Nitro days that would make you go back? Yeah, time machine. Like if I could go back. Yeah, but it's not. It's a different universe now, and I have like no interest in it. It does nothing for me. Now I'm stuck with all of this like completely useless,
outdated
knowledge.
Nitro knowledge.
Burned into my 535. Yes, that wasn't a 5. It was a 535. Yes.
You get on the nostalgic Nitro tour with those 7 people that have those cars.
No, but the nostalgia stuff is
different.
It's nothing. It's nothing like.
Because they want to keep them alive. They don't want to rebuild them every time, more or less.
It's not even that. The problem with Nitro was that you can't go backwards, right? So once knowledge is attained, you can't unlearn that knowledge. So once the secrets were really, once you hit the 1985 through 90 era, okay, and that's where all of the modern evolution of Nitro started there. Once you've attained that knowledge and now you understand how Nitro actually works, because previous to 1985, nobody really knew how it worked.
It just worked and they used it.
It worked. They tuned it. They played with it. They obviously. Lots and lots of racers out there at the time, but the load-sensitive nature of Nitro wasn't really fully understood.
Oh, it likes that hard load.
Yeah. Right. Up until 1985 or so, and that's about the cutoff year, they treated fuel cars much more like regular cars. So you had gear ratios, you had 430, 456, 488 gears. They were going for RPM, 2-speed transmissions. Lots of things to give those cars the traditional drag racing mechanical advantage. Yeah. But beginning in 1985, that changed, right? And suddenly, like things like wings, for example, right?
Oh, to put load on them.
Exactly. In the old days, so previous to 1985, the only consideration given to a wing, like on a top fuel car or the spoiler on a funny car, the only consideration was just downforce. Mm-hmm. Okay. But beginning in 1985, drag came into the equation. So you wanted a wing that actually created downforce and drag at the same time. Because the more drag there was, the more fuel the motor would burn upstairs.
The faster you go, it doesn't matter how much drag.
Exactly. So that's what happened. Like the sport turned a corner in the middle 1980s into 1990s, and you can't go back.
No genie back in the bottle.
No genie back in the bottle. And yeah. Pete, I really enjoy when you talk Nitro evolution. I'm glad you enjoy it. I literally have way too much of it stuck in my head. Brandon Byington.
That's a crazy question. I've never heard that before, but go
okay.
ahead.
Have you ever used an old cam to make cam bearings? Yes. And had success with reaming new cam bearings to fit new camshafts. Yes. New cam will not fit with new cam bearings on a Mopar 440. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. All right. So the concept of using an old cam as a reamer, what you do with that is you take like a chisel, okay, and you go to the forward edge of each cam journal, right, on the camshaft, and you put like a diagonal notch in it, right? Then you dress it out so you don't really have any significant high spots, okay, and then you insert it into the engine and rotate it as you go, okay. So if there are any minor high spots, and I'm talking about minor, any minor high spots, as you're putting the cam in and rotating it like that, that little tooth that you put in there is going to gently cut away at the high spot, but not distort the bearing. It's a very tricky thing to do. It's really easy to screw up the bearing. So you have to, but that's that. Now, if you've got a cam that isn't going to fit, I actually came across this. You need to measure the journals on it, right? Because I had a cam, I did a 426 Hemi 3 years ago here on this channel, and Comp sent us a cam, and I go to put the cam in the motor, and so everything's all normal, it's all lubed up, and the cam's going in, and I get to the last, like now it's in, and it's just about the last, step where all of the journals are going to be seated into the bearings, and she won't move, she wouldn't budge, okay, nothing. Took it out, checked it out, looked it over, looked at the bearings, looked at everything, go to put it back in, nothing. Took a dead blow, just duck, give it a couple of taps to see if that made any difference. Maybe there was a burr, nothing, just solid, would not go. So I pulled it apart and I measured the cam, and all of the journals were 2/1000 oversized. So they cut the cam wrong, would not fit in the engine with the stock size bearings. And when you've got that much of a discrepancy, you don't attempt to,
take that much bearing surface off of the
right.
fabric. Yeah.
Right. I hope that answered your question.
So his 400 cam doesn't fit because there's something probably wrong with the cam.
Check the cam. Check the cam. Take that one. Shoehorn Jackson.
Shoehorn Jacksons. Do the pistons have to match the crankshaft? No.
Not necessarily.
No, because you replace pistons all the time. You overbore, you replace pistons. You go different compression, dish piston, dome piston. Yeah. The crankshaft doesn't care what piston's on the end of that rod. As long as the journals are all good and it's happy and it's up at the top of the deck and without too much poking out or sinking down.
I would say two factors on that, right?
Okay.
Assuming that the pin height is going to put the piston where you want it in.
Yeah.
Okay, so assuming that that's matched, right? Weight, piston weight. So when you balance an engine, right? I don't remember what the ratio is, but the piston weight is the least thing taken into consideration. So you're going to balance the big end of an engine. The big end of the rod takes the greatest amount of consideration. The small end of the rod and the pin, right, the least amount. And then the piston itself is almost inconsequential when it comes to balancing, but people still do the balancing with it. As long as the piston is lighter than the one it's replacing, then there's really never a problem or an issue or a reason to be rebalanced. If the piston is heavier, on the other hand, you may want to consider having.
It screws up all your bob weight. And everything else,
yeah.
Then the math goes crazy.
And the other thing is piston skirt. So the design of the piston below the pin has to be compatible with the counterweight, because when you start getting into stroker engines, the counterweight, okay, so you got to picture this, right? As the crank rolls around so that it's at bottom dead center, opposite of that is the counterweight, and the counterweight comes like right up against the bottom of the piston at bottom dead center. So there's another example where the piston would have to match the crankshaft if you're going like with a stroker combination.
Yes.
Okay.
The wisdom's pouring out of you tonight.
Is it?
Yes. And for 91 likes, it's pitiful that.
Oh my God. That's it. We only have 159 people watching us. Wow, we've jumped the shark, bro. It's
yeah,
over.
yes, it's over. Yeah.
It's over. I bet you they're all over at that other Wednesday night live tech talk.
At least 5 or 6 of them.
Oh man, yeah. This is brutal.
It is.
This is brutal.
You're gonna have to pick up the phone.
My ego is just blown out.
Yeah. This is like my Monday night crowd. It's not supposed to be this count on yours. Yeah. Again, it was a weird day though.
It's been a weird day. It's been a very weird day.
Yeah. So we just roll with it. Yeah.
I shot a 40-minute video today that I scrapped. 43-minute video that I scrapped. I was here at 4:30 this morning and shot a 43-minute video.
And said, I don't like it, F it.
It
just didn't roll.
Edit it, and it was just like, nope, gotta go. Nope. So it was like, today's just been one of those days.
Yeah.
Stray Bullet, Tony is really dropping off. Yes, I've jumped the shark.
Mm-hmm. Sharks with laser beams. That's right. We jumped those two.
Mark Suave, he's late, but he's here.
That's nice.
Yes. Okay. Was there a different live stream?
Tony, there are only 42 on the other live stream right now.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Let's see. How rare?
Yeah. This is yours.
Is a Super Commando 383 Fury with factory AC? Not very rare. If it's an automatic, if it's a 4-speed, those are really rare. But no, that's not particularly rare. Found on the side of the road for sale in rust-free but kind of rough shape, but runs. I want to buy for $2,500. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Even if it's a 4-door, even still, who cares? $2,500 for a runner?
Yeah,
you got that in parts.
That's like the ultimate power tour kind of car.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's an interstate jet, boy. I would grab that.
Yeah, it's big blocks. It's gonna have a good rear end, big trans, and everything, all the good parts. Take it.
Mark Suave, 1976 CB750. I was told you can jump the timing chain of tooth to get higher RPM. No. First off, if you jump a tooth, you're retarding the cam. Well, yes. If you jump a tooth, you're retarding the cam. Is that right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And which would give you more high RPM power, but one tooth is more than, let's say, the typical number of degrees that you would. So, like, skipping a tooth would probably equate to retarding the cam maybe like 12, 15 degrees, which is a ton, right? I would, like, in theory, I could see it working, but
you'd run like crap down low.
Yeah, you'd really be giving up a ton of low end power. Mr. B says Rampage. Maybe later. Yeah.
Does hogging out and porting cylinder heads on a 318 contribute to low vacuum at idle?
No, the camshaft profile is the only thing that would be a factor in idle vacuum.
Chevy made an El Camino. Ford made a Ranchero. Did Chrysler ever make their equivalent?
What was that now?
Right here. Chevy made the El Camino.
Yes.
And Ford made the Ranchero. Did Chrysler ever make their equivalent?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Rampage. That's yeah.
Eventually, they made the Rampage.
Yes. Way after everybody was done making theirs.
They're like, oh, nobody.
Chrysler was like, hey, wait a minute.
This is cool. Nobody has one of these.
We have this K car. Let's make a pickup truck out of it.
Yeah. One chassis for all use. Yeah.
Mark Schwab. Okay, that CB750 had no torque and would just sing. Used to be a drag bike with a turbo. Oh, wait, now you didn't say turbo.
And that changes, yeah.
That changes things. That changes. Yeah, so it would still be a dog off the start line. But yes, okay, force feeding a severely retarded camshaft would give you amazing top end power. You see, you didn't say that. You know,
you left that part out, Mark.
Right. Fun with cars. My friend's 60s AA fuel dragster with a blow nitro 392 was named Rampage. Oh God. Vaka Simchenko and who the hell? There were a couple of cars named Rampage. Who is your friend?
You keep mispronouncing your name.
Okay. Bernie Bartella. The name rings a bell. The name rings a bell. Let's see.
He's got the right last name to be some East Coast guy.
Who does?
Bernie Bartella.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't think of. Oh, wait a second. His wife drove a fuel car too. Okay. Am I right about that? His old lady drove a fuel car. Name's right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of who it is. Car was called Chrysler Pella Niagara. Well, you just said Rampage. You didn't. You said he had a fuel car named Rampage, not Chrysler Pella
Niagara.
at Niagara. Okay.
Okay. Here's trivia. What was the horsepower rating of a stock 340 in 1973? No.
I don't know.
Did they stump the unk?
Yeah, I don't know. I have a 73 340. Well, actually, mine is a 68 and a 73.
Yeah.
What was the horsepower rating? So it was 275. So it was 275 in 68, 69, 70. The six pack was 290. Oh, grossly underrated. Grossly underrated. What the hell was it? I'm gonna guess 185.
He's saying 245 and 73. At what Zoda? B2B.
Oh, okay, we got a couple of people 245. Let's see. Okay, fun with cars. It was Rampage in the 1990s nostalgia drags. Okay, I'm totally lost with that now. Lynn H is in the market for a 73 Monte Carlo 454. Nice choice. Very sweet ride, that would be. Okay, is windage a problem on big block Chrysler like it is on the Chevys? Yes, absolutely. Windage is a pretty severe issue with all of those engines. Luckily, because of the way the big block is built, so like a small block, either Mopar or Chevy, has to use kind of like a bikini windage tray. And the way a big block is designed with the deeper skirt, you get a full tray windage tray. So that's good for oil slosh. Like that full tray helps keep some of the oil where it needs to be in the pan, right? And so like it's like a baffle. It's like an extra baffle.
It's not a crank scraper.
It's not a crank scraper. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeff Hutchins, UTG should explain why the small block Chrysler large diameter lifters are an advantage. It's not just small block Chrysler. All Chrysler and AMC engines use the same diameter lifter, and it allows the grinder, the cam grinder, to take better advantage of the profile of the lobe profile. You've got a wider what's the word I'm looking for?
Foot.
Well, obviously, it's got a bigger footprint, but it gives the grinder more leeway on the approach and the closing ramps.
So you can get more aggressive with it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thumper says he ordered a party pulley to be 35% over. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I got two coming at 12 and a 14 over. Comment with my 40. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Blake Norman. Now, I worked with the legendary Norman Blake. We used to call him Normal Flake. But Norman Blake, world-renowned drag racing photographer, he and I actually did a magazine together back in 1989, I think it was, or thereabouts. We did a couple of issues of what was called Drag Racing Illustrated, not Drag Racing Illustrated, Drag Racing. I don't remember it. I don't even remember the name of my own freaking magazine. But Norman and I did a couple of issues of that, and then I just left the business. I was done. But Blake Norman, my LA 360 build is ticking like crazy. Good oil pressure, runs cool, good intake. Off my push rods are rubbing, cylinder head going up at 1.6 rockers. Okay. So your LA 360 build is ticking like. What lifter did you use? Because the lifter height becomes an issue if you're using a regular LA, like the early LA, non-roller LA. The pushrod holes are too small. If you use a lifter that's any taller than the original lifter that's in there, the pushrod's going to rub. I came across this a few years ago. Just to get the car running, okay, I ground on the push rods. I was like, okay, I just need to get this thing running, and I'll change out the heads, or I'll do something later. So I actually ground clearance into the push rods. Because remember now, on a lifter, on a roller lifter, the push rod isn't spinning. Nothing spins; it just stays stationary. So I actually ground clearance into the push rods of this engine. You know what? 5 years later, it's still like that. Like 80,000 miles, I think we've put on this thing so far, and it's just fine. It was like one of those temporary fixes. Oh, I'll do this next week. I'll fix this next week. No, it's been like that forever. So, but yeah, that's what your problem is. You're running a lifter that's taller than the stock lifter through the original pushrod hole of the non-roller LA, and the angle is such that
because that changed your pivot point.
Yes. Right, it moves it closer to the outside.
Oh yeah, because clutches are laid down more. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Oops. Okay, where were we now? Yeah, he's saying it's aftermarket roller lifters now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys should race. We will.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a little less.
We have before. I mean, I got killed with the original little electric car.
I think he's talking about our cars.
Yeah, we will. We have actually plans for that.
Yes.
TBA.
Let's see.
How about Adam's question for your?
Oh, okay. Will an AMC Jeep Inline 6 make more power with a higher lift cam or higher compression ratio. Thinking of doing a cool, fun, cheap build. So it's like, you want to know where you're going to spend your money. You're going to spend it on cam. You're going to spend it on pistons. I don't think lift is the issue. I think duration and overlap is going to be. What would you?
You don't need any more compression in that motor. I would do, if you're going to do anything, go camshaft and have something, or is it, a rock climbing Jeep or a drag race Jeep? It depends on what you're going to use it for and how you're going to set up your stick shift or automatic or
right,
and match the cam for your expected output to your configuration of the vehicle.
Talk to a cam grinder.
Yeah.
Seriously, talk to a cam grinder and they'll, because that's what they do. But yeah, if you have limited budget and you have a choice between pistons or a machine work to get the compression ratio up or a cam, I would go with the cam.
Go with the cam. Yeah, don't pick one out of the catalog. Call a guy. They'll be happy to suggest one for you.
Okay. Stray bullet. What does Tony have to go against the Ranger? Bottle rocket.
Bottle rocket. Lots of happy juice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be a good race.
Mm-hmm. And he'll probably out 60-foot me, but then after that it's over.
We'll see. We'll see. I get that car. If I get that car to stick through first gear,
mm-hmm.
You ain't got nothing for me.
Okay.
I just got to get it to stick.
Yeah.
Peabody Grudge. Tony, how long did you own the V8, the Virginia Twister funny car? How did you know I owned that car? I have never talked about the Virginia Twister.
I've never heard that story. No.
No, I never ran the car. I owned it, but I never ran it. I owned it, but never ran it.
Alan Harbert says he's a big fan of both y'all.
Awesome.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thumper, Tony, if I build a junk Pontiac like you did with Bottle Rocket, will you line up with me? Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, right? You build a Colonnade era, like a Le Mans, right? Something like that, or a Grand Prix, any of the intermediate cars from the 1970s era, okay? And use a 301, which would be the equivalent of the 318 that I have, okay? And yes, I will race you anywhere, anytime, for any amount of money. How's that sound?
He said he did want to use a junk Pontiac motor. Well, that's where you start with junk Pontiac motors.
Right, you got to go equivalent. Yeah. It has to be like.
Yeah, go full junk. Yep. Corey Melvin, $2 super chat. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
Have either of you done videos on E85 carbs? I have not.
I have not either.
I have no interest.
Let's see. 301 is like a slant 6. So it's a 318.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Russ Peter Derelict's Q-Jet video reminded me that Ford used a Q-Jet on 460s in the late 70s. No. The Q-Jet, the Ford only used a Q-Jet on the either 1970 or 1971 429, not the Super Cobra Jet, just the regular Cobra Jet, and the luxury car version, whatever the hell they called that. And then they used some, not all, but some Boss 351s had Rochesters on. Not all, but some. And I remember that from an actual, I going back to those magazine days. I did a story on actually I did a drag test on a Boss 351 Mustang, And that was a topic of conversation that came up because the owner of the car had an original setup with the Rochester on it. And I had never seen that before. And he's like, yes, originally that package came with quadrojets.
Was that like a 73 or
73.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we forgot to build carburetors this year. Call Chevy, get a boatload of them and throw them out of here and call it good.
And Zero just put up a link to your channel.
Nice.
That
He's
guy's
the
just
best.
amazing.
Yes.
Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab. Let's see. 429 Thunderjet. And then Fubar put up the link to my merch, my shirts, and what shirt am I wearing?
You're wearing internal combustion.
Yes.
A P standing up.
We still have a bunch of those. So you guys want to help Uncle Kathy out? Buy some of these internal combustion shirts. I'm sure she'll give you a deal on them. She stocked up on like thousands of the damn things. Let's see. Mexican Spec is saying it is the journey, not the wind at the end of the track. The wind is good. The wind is good to have.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, Jamie.
Yeah. You still waiting for this video? Was that this 40-minute scrapper?
No. Yes, I know. I have to answer. Well, the reason I haven't answered his call out yet is because I have no intention of taking that car to a track until it cools off a little bit.
Oh, yeah, until like September.
It's August. It starts to get.
Yeah, end of August.
It'll be at least 3 weeks or so, right?
Yeah.
Before it's like reasonable to go out and take the car and make runs with it. It's a sauna here. So that's why I haven't answered his call out yet, but I will. And I want my freaking timing light back.
And where is Jimmy tonight?
He's mad at me, I guess.
Why's he mad?
Well, he's
he
like
doesn't
everybody.
Get mad at anything.
He's like everybody else. Everybody gets mad at me. You know that.
Yeah.
It's universal.
Yeah. Okay.
Thumper is saying, do you have a payment method other than PayPal? They hate me. Yeah. Yeah. What does she use? God, I don't even know.
Send the money you're going to send to him to me on my Venmo, and I'll.
Oh yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Send it all to me. He gets all the super chats. Just send me the Venmo.
Rusty is saying altitude, heat, and humidity can make a big difference in ET. Yes, it can.
That's
especially with something like that.
Mm-hmm. Craig Davis, XJ is running hot in slow town driving. Runs cool on the freeway with AC on and 116 degrees outside. Tip. Fan clutch bad? Yep.
More than likely, yes.
And probably like yours, that little extra fan for the AC.
Yes.
Is probably burnt
the auxiliary fan. Yeah, make sure the auxiliary fan is kicking on.
That's probably where the problem is. Or you got a big transcooler in front of the radiator, like
yeah. So on one of my XJs, I had a transcooler. You would think, okay, a transcooler, how much could that possibly affect the way it runs? Like 10 degrees. Overall difference between having a transcooler mounted in front of the radiator and taking it off. I just eliminated it completely. I didn't feel I needed it on that. But it ran like 10 degrees cooler. The XJ has that long, very short, right, radiator, strange radiator. So like anything in front of it really affects flow. Mexican Spec, Tony, have you answered Jamie or not? Yes, I just did more or less.
Spec Johnson, been watching you since your first videos. It gave me the drive I needed to fix the 69 Mustang. I got out of the farmer's field, been working with stock parts to see how fast he can go.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
And you should just drop off your 69 Mustang at my house because you have no further use for it.
Listen to that. He's a doctor. He knows.
Yes.
Gerard, my 351 Cleveland gets a little hotter than normal only when driving, but not at idle. Could this be a failing water pump? No. Has a new rad and thermostat. Okay, when a water pump goes bad, okay, like if the impeller comes off the shaft or is loose on the shaft, it doesn't slip for very long before it completely wipes out to where it just doesn't do anything at all.
In the Clevelands, they got that weird thermostat and bypass little route, which if that's corrupted at all, that'll make that happen. They're different than like a small block Chrysler or Chevy or stuff like that.
Listen to the Ford guy.
Yeah, I would go in, take out your thermostat, test it, and then make sure that auxiliary passage is not blocked, because those Ford blocks are kind of infamous for building up rust inside the block and blocking that passage and overheating.
Okay. Yeah, it happens only when he's driving, but not at idle. And usually that's a sign of a clogged radiator. But you're saying it has a new
Yeah,
rad.
it's to do with the bypass and the thermostat. I almost guarantee you that's very aggravating on those motors. It can be. And if you just want to give up on it, you can drop off that Cleveland at my house also. And just forget about it.
Moon Zappa.
Nice. We got Moon Zappa here.
Valley Girl.
Nice.
Did you ever mess with the Saab ion sense ignition system? Closed loop ignition seeking to put peak cylinder pressure at 16 degrees after top dead center. Peak cylinder. No. Well, yeah, that's about right. No, I can't ever recall. Nothing particular about that.
What? Corey, this doesn't make sense. I have a Holly 650 double pumper with 850 double pumper with vacuum secondaries.
No, you have an 850 double feed, not double pumper. Double pumper means that it's two accelerator pumps, which means it's a manual secondary, mechanical secondaries. Yeah. You have an 850 Holly double feed, and it's got vacuum secondaries. And medium build 455, that's probably the perfect carburetor for it. Let's see. Speed Demon, Tony, I'll race your Jeeps with my Ram Charger in the sand dunes up a dune hill. Where's our nearest sand dune?
Michigan, New Mexico. It's 20 hours either way. Yeah.
Right.
But Speed Demon, we'd like to see. I'd like to see videos of his.
I'd like to see it too. Yeah, absolutely. Kajito or Gavexo. Mm-hmm. Yes. Without a boroscope, how can I tell if a burning oil leaking past my rings or my valve guide seal? Just burning in my front cylinder.
When does it happen? Does it burn all the time? Does it burn on acceleration? Does it burn?
Yes. Smoke on deceleration is valve guide. Smoke on acceleration is rings.
Yes. There you go. When does it happen? Then there's your answer.
Firefly. He's talking about the Saab. It's a closed loop ignition system that adjusts timing based on the principle of applying 200 volts to the spark plug, using it as an ionization plug to detect peak cylinder pressure. I have never heard of that.
That's some Swedish nonsense right there.
I don't know if it's nonsense. That's like
that's Swedish engineering. Let's see.
I don't know.
No, I never heard of it.
He's saying that Harley supposedly used ion sense ignition also. Dude, I've never heard of it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just never heard of it. Fun with cars. You can get a Boroscope for $13. I don't know if at $13. You can go to Harbor Freight. They're cheap. They're like $45 or thereabouts.
And you can get one online.
Yeah.
On Amazon, and that feeds right to your phone and gives you a nice picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some place in China sent me 3 of those. So
Nice.
they're like, "Will you look at this?" Sure. And then 3 show up. I'm like, "All right, good. I'm set for life." I'm looking in the dryer vents and everything, Okay. Take that on the bottom there. That's all about you.
On the bottom?
Yeah, Tony, this one here.
833 23 spline versus 18 spline. Is it worth tracking down an 18 for a 69 Coronet street roller build? Or just grab one of the many 23s that are everywhere? You will not notice a difference. You'll be just fine. Use a 23 spline. You're fine. I have no idea why Chrysler did that. No idea. We used a 23 spline behind a Hemi in a 3,600 pound Challenger with 1432s and 5 something years. I forget. It's such a long time ago. And we used 23 spline transmissions in that thing, and they were fine. Adam will ever mess with flathead V8s? Mess with them? No. I mean, I've worked on the occasional flathead, but just like standard stuff, get it running or a tune up, that sort of stuff. I've never actually dug into one.
I've tore one apart once, but that's about it.
Which one?
Just a flathead Ford V8. Yeah. And the weird tool to take the valve springs out and stuff like that. It was interesting, but I was like, for 85 horse, I can figure out something else.
Let's see. Lee does 419. Let me see what his. Okay, Caprice. Okay, yeah, we need a little more information. Anthony Barber, tell me what A bodies had the 8 3/4 rear. They started bringing them in 1966, mid-year 1966. Your V8 4-speed cars, the Commando, the 4-barrel 4-speed cars got them. So from that point on, 67, available behind every engine except the slant. 68, same thing. 69, same thing. 72 was the last year. 72 was the last year. And the 8 3/4 in the last couple of years, like in 72, the 8 3/4 pops up in all of these crazy combinations. Like you'll get like a slant 6 automatic car that'll have an 8 3/4 in it. And I think it's just because they were trying to use up whatever extra parts were there. So, but yeah, it was a common rear in those cars. Okay, these guys are talking about these ignition systems that I've never heard of. Saying that Saturn used a similar ignition to generate a cam signal. It's called compression sense ignition. I've never heard of this.
No, me neither.
Mark is asking if my Cherokees have no, none of them have Dana 35s. They're all 8 1/4 Chrysler rears. What's on the so a 1970 Valiant 4-door Resto with a slant 6. It was optioned with the 8 3/4 rear. Yep. Yeah, they popped up in all different combinations. Craig Simpson, thank you for the super chat. AMC 360s, hot or not? Yes, very good engines, extremely good engines. Hard to get speed parts for, hard to get any parts for. The Jeep guys love those things.
Yeah, in the old CJs,
Yeah.
the 360, and
Yeah.
they're fun to drive like that. You know,
Yeah, they are.
Slightly dangerous, but yeah, fun.
So yes, 360 AMC. Let's call it hot.
Yes.
Masking and canners. So if you go back to so those 360 heads, right? Those AMC, the larger port 360 heads, and the same ones that they use on the 390s and the 401s. No, the 390 had a different head. 360 and the 401 of that era, middle 70s, early to middle 70s, had the same cylinder heads. And when Pro Stock was still running on cubic inch to weight, those there was a team called Maskin and Canners that ran. Actually, there were a couple of them. Wally Booth. Okay, there were a couple of people who were really at the top of the Pro Stock game in that period of time, 1974, 1975, with those AMC motors, the dog-leg exhaust AMCs. Those were very potent engines in their day. Let's see. Farm Cars owned a dozen Saturns S-Series over these. They built them right up the street here. Well, not up the street, about 25 miles from here. We even have Saturn Parkway, named after the Saturn plant.
And they were another good idea that got ruined by corporate buttholes. They were one price. They sold like crazy. They were, plastic. They never rusted. They ran forever. They ran so long that the driver's seat would just fall apart and the car would still be driving. But when they took on Hummer and all these other dog things, they took all that debt and loaded it on Saturn because it's the only thing that was making money, and it killed the brand. There's a worse move General Motors made.
Those were good, solid cars, and you still see them on the road out there. Like you go around Columbia where they built them.
Yeah,
they're still out there, motoring away. The only problem I remember having with those when they were in like regular use was the fuse box. Do you remember the fuse boxes on those?
Not offhand, but probably, yeah.
It was mounted like on the side of the console. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a two-piece. It was like a sandwich.
Oh,
so
God.
yeah. So you had the fuses and relays on one side, and then like when you broke it apart, there were contacts that went from one side to the other. And those contacts would get dirty, and they would do all sorts of weird things.
Weird stuff to the car.
Yeah, but those Saturns were really good cars.
I had people that, they drove them commuters when they had like an hour commute. They'd get these things. They'd have 350,000 miles on them. There'd be nothing left. It was funny because they'd be looking for a driver's seat in the junkyard because it was just it was a low butt car, so the seat lasted 120,000 miles, and the back would fall off and stuff. And people would be driving them without backs on them. And
what I remember the most about those things was all of the castings looked like they were styrofoam.
Yeah,
there
was no refinement. It's just a basic little transportation car, especially up north. They didn't rust.
No, picture the texturing on like the cylinder heads on the block.
Yeah, it was.
It looks like, exactly like styrofoam. Like if you would have painted
stucco, if
you would have painted like a dull white, you'd think it was like made out of like a styrofoam cooler. We made this engine.
Yeah, there was nothing fancy about them, but the best idea that got killed.
Fun with cars, lost foam casting. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Chris is saying that there are still Saturns driving around here in Rochester. Zero contemporaries left like escorts neons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Boger, I think that's how you pronounce it. A few family members of mine worked at an AMC dealership in the 70s. My dad told me stories of the service manager cutting apart brand new heads to see how far they could pour them. Those were the days, man. Alan Schildroth drove an Escort for 22 years.
Get your money out of it.
Yeah, that thing owed you nothing, man. And I bet she probably sold it like running. Did you sell it as a running car?
Oh yeah, probably yes. Probably sold a running car $500-800, and yeah, it's probably still putting around somewhere.
Oliver was saying those plastic doors were actually great. Some of the weather stripping left a bit to be desired after a long time in the South. Those cars had a lot of quirks. There was a lot of those. Weren't they the first cars that had the color impregnated body panels?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paint.
There's no paint. It's like a speedboat. It's just it's in the resin of the door, and that you got a red one or a white one or nothing fancy.
Let's see. It seems to have slowed down somewhat.
It did for a second.
Yes. The 2.3 was fairly unkillable.
Mm-hmm. Fun with cars. Could change the door skin in 10 minutes with the color match from your junkyard part.
I think the problem with those cars is they just made too much sense. And they were just built in such a user-friendly way that they
didn't have that planned obsolescence. They just kept going. Yeah. Because people would, the one price people would just come in and go, all the squishy people.
The squishy people.
Yeah, because they were one price, there's no negotiating, so they were like, just take that one.
Okay, yeah.
And it was genius. They didn't know if they were, or here's the one price on it, like we told you. Oh, okay.
I wonder if there's in some place in the world if there's an enthusiast, like a Saturn cult.
Oh, it's probably here somewhere. I bet you if one of our mods went on the Saturn forums, it's probably based out of Spring Hill. Probably. Yeah, and then they'd probably have a Saturn reunion where there's a big field of SC2s and the 4-doors and everything else. Millions of them.
For us to get to the track in Etheridge, we have to go down Saturn Parkway, right to the plant.
I don't go that way. I go down 65 all the way to Columbia and cut over.
A Mexican spec is saying there is in Tennessee, like you said, they go back to the factory once a year.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be a happy group of people.
Yeah.
It's like, they're so unpretentious, the cars and all of that. It just has to be a happy group of people.
It'd be like 20,000 Jamies driving Saturn.
Probably.
just happy there. They're, everything's great.
Mexican spec is saying Saturn owners are happy because they don't fix much. They had a timing chain. Yep. You know which engine was a real turd? It started off with such promise, but it turned out to be, and the timing chain just reminded me. Do you remember the Quad 4?
Yes.
Have you ever done a water pump on a Quad 4?
No. There was, when they first came out with the Quad 4, the Oldsmobiles, at the time I had a 74, 75 W30 Herstol's black T-tops and stuff like that.
Nice car.
And then, but I wore it out. And the dealer had a Quad 4 two-door, that Oldsmobile Calais.
I remember
that they were willing to stripe and do the package and everything for me and stuff like that, but never bought it. But it would have been interesting. Because at the time, a Quad 4, it was one of the faster cars out there. You got to remember, this is.
Well, I remember when they came out, and it was exciting because it was like, oh, this is a performance. It's supposed to be a performance car. And I remember going to the Olds dealer. What year was this? It was like 1978, 1979?
No. This was early 90s.
No. The Quad 4? No. Because I remember when did wait.
You Google it out. We're gonna
Let me look at this real
Google.
quick.
Yeah.
1988. No, I think it was earlier than that. Hang on.
I had a quad 4 and did the water pump 3 times. Yay.
Nightmare job. Nightmare job. Old quad.
My grandpa had a quad 4, brand new, nothing but problems. Yes, the quad 4 came out in the 90s. You're thinking of something else. I don't know what you're thinking. Late 80s, 87, 88 sounds right.
Wikipedia, quad 4 engine. 1987. Okay.
So it could have been, 88, probably 89, 90 when I was looking at that.
Yeah.
That black Calais.
And it was probably late 86 when I actually went to the dealer to look at them.
Okay.
Okay. That would make sense. I pictured it as just an earlier period of time. But I remember being like halfway excited about it because
the intake, it actually had like a tubular intake and stuff. And
Yep.
Yeah, we're like, oh, this is an actual engine and not an Iron Duke
Yep.
in your Cavalier.
And then once a couple of years they were in the pipeline and I started working on them and I realized, oh, this is bad. This is just bad.
Bad. It's kind of like the 4-cylinder North Star.
The Iron Duke. I remember that one too. Yeah, what's on there? They did run strong. There's no question about it. But man, they when those engines had problems, they had problems.
Right.
Mark Swap, a friend had a quad 4, kept taking to a guy he didn't believe in a torque wrench. I had to smarten him up. Weren't those the first torque to yield?
Head bolts?
I believe they were.
Or were they torque to X and then a quarter turn?
Yeah,
yeah.
Torque to yield. Old Achieva. What an unforgettable car that was.
Yeah.
Lido 419. Got an 83 Caprice. Car was running about a year ago. Now cranks but won't start. Used starter fluid. It started for 3 seconds and died. More starter fluid and carbs shot up a flame. I'm going to guess. So it ran when parked, and now it's popping up. It doesn't want to start, and when it does try to start, it's popping up through the intake. I am going to hazard a guess and say that one of the intake valves is gummed and stuck in the guide.
Or that ignition module took a dump.
But why would that make it pop up through the...
It's just random firing off.
That could be, yeah. He's right. So if you've checked the basics, okay, so the cap isn't cracked, none of the wires are like jumping off spark to each other, and they get the firing order right. Well, how would you tell him to check the module?
Just to see if it sparks. You could just use a timing light as the engine's running slow, but you'll see it.
Well, you can't get it to start. He's cranking it. When it goes to start, it pops up through the intake. He's using starter fluid, and it goes through the intake.
Could have just saturated the intake with starter fluid too.
Could be.
With that, I would do basics. Do you have spark that something weird happened? Is everything in time?
Yes.
Start with try to make sure everything is timed. Get the engine up to top dead center. Take the cap off. See where it's pointing. If it's pointing at 1 or 6, you're good. If it's pointing at 3 or 7, then you have an issue.
Yeah. So Bobby's saying timing chain jumped.
It could be, but that's where I would start. Is make sure all the timing is in line. Because he's got compression and spark, but maybe not in the right place. So,
well, we're assuming he has compression. It's cranking. Like let's say it had jumped timing chain.
He said that ran for a few seconds at first.
Well, on starter fluid, you can get almost anything to run for a few seconds as long as you have spark.
Yeah.
like Dr. Art saying, go over the basics first and don't discount. If I would pop the valve covers off anyway and look at the intake valves and see if you have any loose rockers. If you have any loose rockers, you may have a stuck.
Take and flap and,
yeah. You may have a stuck intake. And all you do with that is squirt it down with like penetrating fluid and tap the top of it with a hammer. Just go tap, 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 tap on the top of the lifter, or not the lifter, the valve, and it'll free itself up. But lots of different things it could be. Corey Melvin is saying Raymond Park. I say valves.
Yeah.
Blake Rodriguez, how's your dirt bike? It's actually pretty good. We have, so my friend John, who owns this whole complex that we're in, bought all of the land behind us and to the side of us, and he's going to put some dirt bike trails in there. But I beat him to the punch, and I've been running around through this whole like section of property that he's got with that bike, and it's fun. It's a good, solid bike. Lee saying, thanking us for a lot of good information.
Okay.
Thank you for viewing and asking the question, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Have you started Big Richard yet?
No.
What are you waiting for?
The sauna to stop.
Good thing to wait for.
Yeah, it's all there. New tank, new this, new all the pulleys line up, and belt's good, and it's filled with oil. It's filled with transmission fluid. It's filled with water and coolant.
You just need to make it spin. And
it with the battery, you go ching ching and it goes spin. So I just did a half revolution. Okay, it works. All I need to do is really build a battery box. I have to, because of the aftermarket intake, the thermostat bolt leaks a little bit of water.
Okay.
Because it's a blind hole. Seal that up, and then put the tank in behind the seat and run the fuel line to the motor through a filter and lobster.
Just waiting for the sauna to end.
Yeah. It's even at 10 o'clock at night, it's really unbearable right now.
Yeah, I'm guilty of it. I haven't worked on anything. I don't feel like working on anything. You gotta you gotta cut yourself some slack when you can.
Right. If it's 95, 98 degrees, don't. That's cool time.
I remember the days when you turning wrenches, and it doesn't matter the weather. It could be 10 degrees below zero. It could be 110 degrees in the shade. It don't matter. You got to be out there throwing wrenches. Fortunately, we've both come to a place now where we don't have to keep paying our dues. We've already done
right.
it.
Exactly.
Corey Melvin, I haven't watched the dirt bike video yet. Sounds cool. Yeah, check it out, man. It's a really cheap turd that we picked up. I'm actually pretty impressed by it. So go check it out. And yes, I've ridden it quite a bit since we made that video. Blake, Mission Improbable, what's going on with it? Bro, I'm just waiting for the weather. Honestly, it's every weekend we've had so far. Every weekend, every day. It's been just like humid and sticky. It's like living in an armpit, and it's just not the thing to do right now. As soon as August around here in the evenings, August starts to cool off. So I'm figuring we'll just wait a couple of weeks, let August come in, let the temperature and the oxygen. There's no oxygen out there.
No.
It's one of the things when you're going for ET, you can't run the car when there's no freaking oxygen in the air. So we'll get back to the track in a couple of weeks. Russ Peter and Alex, same here, either in the 90s or thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We take some thunderstorms. Need some rain, but
yeah.
Damn grass is dying.
I wish mine would die a little bit. It's a little crazy.
We have to mow yours.
Dude, I got the guy comes in every Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
And by Thursday, it's like nobody's been
It's
there.
just,
Yeah, it's insane. In my backyard, the front yard's okay, but the backyard is just crazy. It's like if you just open the back door and you're quiet, you can hear it growing.
well, you have 5 bubble fertilizers.
That's what I say. Kathy says dog poop isn't a good fertilizer, but I don't know about that.
I mean, if cow poop is, well, dog poop. Yeah, it doesn't smell the best.
Poop is poop, I would think.
Right.
But that's besides the point. Yeah, my yard is completely out of control.
But how do you like it with no duster and that extra room?
I love it. I love it.
It's like freedom.
It's the first time in my adult life I've had a backyard that's like a regular human backyard, like with no cars back there and no tools and no
projects and parts and wheels and stacked up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I open a door and it's like I'm visiting somebody who who lives like a human. You know what I mean?
You're becoming a normal person, Tony.
Slow. Look, it took me 62 years. It
Yeah.
took me 62 years.
Here we go.
But I can honestly say, I'm one of the few people who can honestly say my house paid for itself several times over.
Yeah.
You know, so that's.
Springbook's Ruby fan, 727 trans question. It jerks and makes loud bang when shifting into driver reverse, but shifts great when driving. Fluid level is good. What might cause that?
Shifting into driver reverse.
Loud bang. That sounds more like joints.
Yeah, that sounds like a rear end, actually.
Yeah.
That sounds like excessive play in the rear end. I would take a look at that. Zero is 51 today. Happy birthday, Zero.
Happy birthday, bud.
That's awesome, brother. 51. I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy birthday, brother. I think Kathy mailed your magazine today.
Russ Peters there, like, did you ever mow the backyard and find a car you forgot about? When did I buy this 67? Now, let me ask you.
Never let it get that bad.
Let me ask you a question, because this has been a recurring nightmarish dream I've had like all my life. Because I've lived all over the country and all these different places and stuff like that. I always wake up in the middle of the night thinking I forgot a project car somewhere.
Say no more. I've had that occur. I've not a dream. I've had that actually happen to me. Like where I'm like, wait a minute, because people say like, hey, do you have have you ever owned that? And I'm like, wait a minute, I do own it. And it's where did I leave it? And then I realized no, it's something came and went.
Well, because I get this fear because I'm like sometimes even when I was younger, when I had to move, I freaking had to move. And then you're gone overnight for reasons. And I get that recurring, I left a Nova or a Mustang or something, and here or there, everywhere. I'm like, where was my Project Nova? Where did I leave it?
I am certain I've left cars behind over the course of my life, but I don't remember what or where.
I don't think I ever have, but my mind goes because I've had some like you. I've had hundreds.
I can think of one. I left a '67 Fury at a shop that I moved out of that I was going to go back for. This one time I was like, not long after I moved here to Tennessee, right?
Okay.
And I had shop space that I was renting, and when I moved out of there, I had a '67 Fury in there, and I meant to go back for it, and then just forgot about it. And then I guess too late, and it's just like, well, I don't even want to know about it. It's like you go into avoidance mode. You know what I mean? And it's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sure I've left stuff places. Kathy Bananas is in there saying, happy birthday, Zero. Send Zero something else for his birthday. She sent your magazine / dog swatter today. But she's got to send you something else too.
What was with the we're using a phone on Sunday, or what was with the thin screen?
Her thing took a
technology dump.
So kind of like what we had, and she couldn't get it to go regular screen. But here's the weird thing: we don't promote any of our lives. We just go live.
Right.
And because we don't promote any of them, we don't get big numbers. Typically, like after 24 hours, there's like between 4,500 and 5,000 views on one of our lives.
Yeah.
That one's got 15,000. And I have no idea why. It's just completely out of.
Is it the
range.
curse of the duster because you turned it around, now it's backyard and it's a more peaceful
Or
setting?
maybe because she turned it this way, YouTube decided that it was gonna.
And you got to pay more attention or something.
It was weird. Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay, so Sunday nights are going to be shorts video for.
No. I don't want. See, I like this size crowd. This is good because you can hang out and it's not blasting by, and you can like go off on tangents and stuff and not lose the crowd.
We go off on tangents?
I do. I'm sorry. I do that. I can't help it.
It's we do. Yeah.
Friggin' wiring. Let's see.
How about, do you guys know if the Challenger and Barracuda have a 2-inch difference in the floor pan?
Yes, they do. Okay, so traditionally, this doesn't apply to like ancient cars, and it doesn't apply to modern cars, right? Or cars from the, let's say, the mid 70s up. But all through the 50s, the 60s, and into the very early 70s, the difference between a Dodge and a Plymouth was in wheelbase. And on A bodies, it's 2 inches. On B bodies, it's 3 inches. On E bodies, it's 2 inches. And the Plymouth is always 2 inches shorter than the Dodge. And the difference in where that distance is made up is the rear seat floor pan. So it's this. So between the back of the front seat and the front of the back seat is where you have that difference in length between the Dodges and the Plymouths. And that's why Plymouths were always the preferred body for drag cars.
So it's a 2-inch difference between a Challenger and a Barracuda?
Yes.
And it's the rear seat area?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So get a Dodge if you like rear seat passengers.
What was that now?
So get a Dodge
if you like your rear seat passengers.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Would you consider an 86 or 87 Turbo T-Type, Grand National T-Type a good car to buy for? Yes. Yes. They're great cars. And myself and I, was the first person to put a Buick Turbo cart in the 13s. I ran a 1380 something with an 86. It was an 87, 86, 87. I don't remember now. T-Type. You can find the article. So many people have reprinted the article over the years that I wrote, and it's called "From Buick with Balls," and it was in Cars Illustrated magazine. Was it 86? I don't know. I don't remember if it was an 86 or an 87. But yeah, if you want to see some of my old work, just Google search "From Buick with Balls." That was the name of the article, and it was actually pretty good. If I do say so myself.
Was it that 13.8 on the gator backs and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, look at this.
Now the thing about that, right, was I ran that, and now I will never forget this. Okay, so. Well, I worked for Vet Magazine also at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was technical editor for all of the CSK magazines. And the photographers from Vet Magazine set up this deal at Englishtown to shoot a bunch of vets. So, and they were making runs with them. And the fastest of them was a 427, 435. Mm-hmm. And he had just barely cracked into the 13. He had like a 1390 with the thing, right? So after they were finished with their shoots and making their runs and all the other stuff, I took the Turbo T-Type.
You pull up in this quiet car.
Because I knew. See, all right, I'm a sneaky bastard. I'm going to tell you this right now, right? No matter what I do, I'm doing something sneaky. Just be forewarned, okay? So what I did was, all right, I had made a couple of laps with the car earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Now that thing needed to be run cool, had to be cold.
Yeah.
Okay. So while they were, for the couple of hours that they were making the runs and they were shooting with the Corvettes, I left the T-type parked behind the starting line, behind the water box.
Oh, okay.
And with the hood open. So it sat there for all the time. So after they got done making the runs with the vets, and there was probably a dozen cars there that day, right? And all the typical vet guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Italian New Jersey vet guys.
Hey,
Right? So
hey, look at my fucking chain.
Look at this fucking chain. So after they got done doing all of their stuff, while they were all gathered right there on the return road, so they were like right there, front row seat.
Just cigars in their knee-high socks. And
I fired the car. I shut the hood, fired it up, drove it through the water, just cleaned the tires real quick, staged it, and went, right? So it had never had a chance to go. And 1385 at like 99, 90, whatever the hell miles an hour was. I have to go back and read the story to remember what the numbers were. The looks on their faces, they could kill. It was because the car went faster than any of them.
Right, they're like, what's in that thing? Yeah, they all want it. Yeah.
It's just stock 6-cylinder Buick.
Yeah, it's a V6 Buick. Yeah, suck it. Yeah.
And the best part was it wasn't a Grand National. Everybody knew what a Grand National was at that time.
It was just a T-type.
It was just a T-type.
Yeah.
You never know. You looked at it.
Yeah, it's quiet. It's, white, unassuming. Yeah. We missed. I
missed what?
You missed the super chat.
I missed the super chat.
Yeah.
Bill McKayska, thank you for the super chat, my brother. UTG, what is the bigger or more realistic conspiracy to you? Moon landing or battles of Antarctica?
Well, the moon landing is fake.
Yeah.
And there may be some validity to the nonsense in Antarctica because you can't go there.
Yeah. Well, he's asking what's the bigger, more realistic conspiracy? The more realistic conspiracy is the moon landing. So I'm not saying, I say this every time, because it's the truth. I'm not saying that we didn't go to the moon, but I don't think that we did. In my opinion, I don't think that we did. So, don't be like, he's telling the moon landing never happened.
I'll tell him.
I don't think that it did.
I think it's fake as shit. So
it's gotta be. It's gotta be. But
that, no, okay. You take the butt. I'll take the brunt of.
Yeah. Now, as far as battles of Antarctica, I don't know anything about battles of Antarctica, but I do know that there are many maps from the 15, 16, and 1700s that show Antarctica as a landmass. Okay, they don't show it as a frozen thing. They show hills, they show rivers, they show. I'm not making this up. Just go find a map from like 16 whatever, and they show Antarctica as being a completely inhabitable place. So I don't know. Did they make that up? As far as battles go, I don't think I've ever really heard of battles. But I would say the more realistic conspiracy would be the moon landing.
Isn't.
Raptor Ranch is in from Wisconsin. Welcome, my brother.
Nice. Welcome.
Zach Wilson, the Perry Reese map. Yes, among others. Felix Concolor, the astronauts were off the scale cagey when asked about constellations and star patterns. That's enough for me to seriously question. Steve Machurik, if there were two engines that were exactly the same other than a cross-plane crankshaft, which would make more power? Good question.
Well, the flat plane crankshaft's going to rev higher.
Yeah, but the cross plane
is going to be more.
I don't know. I don't know. And Fubar, the ever helpful Fubar, has put up a link. Kathy Bananas, send Fubar something too. Anything. Send him some old magazines too. We have so many old magazines. They're just dying there on the shelf.
Turning to yellow.
Yeah, I'm using them to swat dogs with. Behavior modification tools.
Right. Just for the noise, not the actual active.
Mark Suave, look up Admiral Richard Byrd for Antarctica. See, okay, yeah, I know. I'm totally familiar with the bird thing. I get it. But the problem with that is that it's secondhand information.
From his niece who needed money.
His son.
Okay.
And I guess maybe the niece got involved too. So, but there are things about that particular trip because they did come back with fewer vessels than they left with.
Something happened,
and they came back way ahead of schedule. So, but the bird thing is all from his diary, his supposed diary, all after he died. So, Fubar is saying that would be sweet to have some of those. They're on their way to you. Consider them on their way to you, man. Let's see. Gunkaroo or Shatner-esque?
I gotta go with Gunkaroo.
Yeah. Although Shatner is
it's got its points, but I mean overall, you can beat a Gunkaroo.
I'm not sure what a Gunkaroo is actually.
Neither of us do, but it sounds nice.
Gunkaroo it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Facts is facts. Chris, I'm a 69 Roadrunner. Gunkaroo Bobinski. Tony needs to look him up. Who do I need to look up, Gunkaroo? Melvin D. There is yet another group of people going to Antarctica to film the 24-hour sun. They even have a flat earther going as well. They are calling it the final experiment. Listen, there's a lot of strange stuff about Antarctica. I mean,
and you can go there. You just can't go to some parts.
Yes, completely off limits, and you can only go there with an organized, approved tour. So you don't stray off the So there's a lot of anomalies about Antarctica.
There's some weird shit.
There's some really weird shit. There's there's pyramids there. You can't miss it. It's a freaking pyramid. There's not a natural shape. And then you get that weird thing where everybody flies to Antarctica. Like literally every single important political figure, they all make pilgrimages to Antarctica. For what reason? I don't know. Why do they all go to Antarctica?
Meet with the head aliens.
This is what I'm saying. They're doing something there.
The head of the goat people isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're shape-shifting reptilians or. Yes, other countries have bases in yes, because there's an Antarctic treaty amongst all of the countries. Which go figure that one out.
Russ Peter Derelicts nails it. If the planet was flat, cats would have already pushed everything off the edge.
That's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Mr. B's, some say there is an opening to the pit of hell there. No, that's in New Jersey. It's close to it's close to Newark. Let's see. When is the land speed record Jeep coming into play? I don't know. Yes, Cognito. Yeah, John Kerry went to Antarctica after the 2016 elections for reasons. I know they all go there. They all go there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Kathy Bananas is laughing. Mexican Spec is saying if the Earth was flat, wouldn't Australia and New Zealand be on the other side, much like the steering wheels? Good.
Yeah,
good point.
Oh, Kathy thinks, your New Jersey references.
Yes.
The pit of hell is in Newark. Yeah.
Right behind the Statue of Liberty, which has a striking resemblance to. What?
Haven't heard that one. Resembles what?
You haven't heard that one?
No.
Yeah, keep them going. And I'll get it for you.
Okay.
But I'm not going to show it on here
Oh, okay.
because it will cause controversy. They'll just have to look at your reaction to it.
Antarctica is the portal through the Earth plane where multi-timelines can be jumped.
I'm not saying that's not true.
But you know what I heard was funny, and this is not a political joke.
What's that?
Is there's a conspiracy that Trump's son Barron's a time traveler.
Yes.
But what if when you make a time jump, you come back and you're just a little bit more orange for the trip?
It's possible coming through the ionosphere.
Yeah, it's gonna bronze you up a little bit.
Okay. Hey, keep them busy for a second.
Okay, Dead Dodge. Jamie's here.
Jamie, we were just talking about you.
Yeah. Jamie, have you ever owned a Saturn? What? Zach Wilson, UTG, if you want to geek out on some ancient history, look into Uncharted X on YouTube. He does some deep dives into the technical symmetry of ancient objects. Incredibly fascinating to see the precision. It is true. Would Uncle Tony have chose the VW Beetle as an Antarctic support? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a known painting. That's a very famous known painting.
Okay.
Yeah. Uncanny resemblance, isn't there?
Yeah, that's pretty hard to miss.
Yeah. I'm not going to show it. You guys can look it up yourself if you're not curious.
Jimmy says Saturn. No, but it had to put an engine in one once. It tried to fix a Saturn CVT, had a bad electric power steering pump once. Don't. So, but the question was, Jamie, because we figure all these Saturn people who come to reunite at the factory once a year are all very happy people.
Yes, like Jamie.
Yes, and you are the happiest person that either of us know.
Yes, he's extremely happy. He's probably mad at me because I haven't responded to his call out yet. But I'm only pulling out temporarily because it's like an armpit out there, and I'm waiting for the weather to change a little bit so we can actually go out and run the car.
His weather there that week is like 100 degrees up by him.
But I bet you he has more air than we do.
Probably, yeah.
Think of where he is. He's in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, trees.
Yeah, we have lots of trees too, but
nothing. Yeah. And his heat is temporary. It'll go away in a couple days.
Oh, he's not mad, but everybody else is.
Yeah, that's right.
Tim Jefferson, my two most plausible conspiracies, JFK and 9/11. Those are conspiracies? Huh. I thought that was all like
those are facts.
I thought that was all just taken care of. I didn't think there was any conspiracy involved.
That's the conspiracies running. Yeah, it's just we're just waiting for somebody to pull out some paperwork.
Let's see. That car does sound good. Olive, his car sounds good. And I got very nostalgic watching him make those runs from inside the car. Very nostalgic.
Yeah, it does sound good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the stratosphere that turns you orange.
Mopar A-bodies forever. Let's see. Wow, we're past the 2 hour mark already.
We blew
past. Oh my god!
No, we forgot to ask. Who watched Dayu Zombie Bastards?
Who did the? Well, obviously nobody, because they were supposed to come back and quote a line from Dayu Zombie Bastards.
I haven't seen one.
And I haven't seen a single. Yeah, exactly. Fail. The whole lot of you. It's just a fail.
We ask one thing.
Jamie says he went and watched some clips that were online. Which clip did you see, bro? Which clip?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oliver's saying, yeah, I love bottle lock and 4-speed trim. Actually reminded me so much of how my Duster went. Yeah, I know. But honestly, it was just a bad match for that car, a bad match for what I was trying to do with it. Oh, the trig exam.
Mm-hmm.
Baron von Nefarious von, the hell was his name? I can't remember his name. Baron von Nefarious von, well, something head.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw it?
I've, like you said, I've seen clips of it.
You've seen clips?
Yeah. Anyway, should we wrap this up?
I guess we should.
Yeah.
Tell them about the blue smoke. Okay. All right. We've got some. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's wrap this up. Dr. Art, do you have anything going on your channel?
Possibly. There's Monday Night Live. Which will be next Monday. And I may have some content over the weekend because I parsed out some time. And if it's not 99 degrees and 99% humidity, we'll get some good stuff. Well,
there you go. And you do your live every Monday night. Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time. Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab. And he features viewers' vehicles.
Yeah,
so
you send in pictures of your vehicles. We put them up. Everybody gets a look at them. Everybody goes, "Yay, nice!" And it's a good time. And then you have Sunday nights in case.
And I have Sunday nights. Yes. Well, my Sunday is just a warm up for your Monday.
Oh, it's just
to get. I'm just priming the crowd. I'm just getting them going.
You're the opening act.
I'm the opening act, and then you come on and sweep it all up on Monday.
Yeah, do an hour and a half and just kill it. Okay,
dude, it's your stage. I'm just dancing on it. You see what I'm saying? Alan Shilworth, writing in zombie movies, The Ultimate Guide. Glenn K. called it a rotten lowball effort. Those whose gags are juvenile and tasteless. Yes, juvenile and tasteless. That's me. Okay, so our amazing mods. Okay, Mexican Spec, Fubar, and the legendary 51-year-old today, Zero. Everybody wish Zero a happy birthday. Yes, that's that.
Half a century in one. Very good job.
Jamie's checking out.
Adios,
right?
Jamie.
Dead Dodge Garage, right? The greatest Mopar channel on all of YouTube and one of the best channels all around, all together on YouTube, period. So go over there and make sure you check out Jamie and sub to him. And he also does live on Sunday nights that overlaps hours. So we go on at 7 o'clock Central. He goes on at 8 o'clock Central. We wrap up at 9 o'clock Central. He keeps going until 10 o'clock Central. So we have overlapping lives.
And he actually makes content.
He makes content, unlike us, right? He actually makes content. He actually goes out and works on this stuff. It's crazy, but yeah, it's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Roma, what's happening, brother, man? Charlie was there when I ran that Buick.
Nice.
I think I'm actually raced. Charlie, did I race you with that Buick? Charlie was around for a lot of cool stuff back in the day. And that's it. So everybody contributed with Super Chat. Thank you so much. It keeps the wheels turning. It's always appreciated. It's never expected, but always appreciated. Everybody who joined us, your presence and your conversation, thank you equally. Right? We could not do this stuff without you. Thank you. Right. Awesome. I mean, I'm seriously.
Right. But otherwise, we would just be at home.
They could watch anything. There's zillions of channels on YouTube.
And they're all here for us.
They chose us. And for that, I am eternally honored.
And it's amazing. It's amazing, actually, isn't it?
Seriously, it really is. I'm often blown away by the fact that we actually have audience. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, I tell me about it. I know, yes.
So that's it. I think we're just gonna call it a night.
Poof it.
We're gonna poof it. I'm gonna hit this button.
And we're out of here.
And we're all gonna go watch Die You Zombie Bastards.
Like we should.
We should. And that's it, guys.